Welcome into Fireside Knicks. Bryce Gelman and Brett Hamfling finally back. Brett, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I missed you, Bryce. Always love to talk Knicks. Coming off a loss, but good to be back. Everything's good. Moving into
everything is good. Everything's good.
Everything's good in my life.
Spring, okay.
Spring is sprung. The weather's nice. March Madness is going on. We're moving into the Masters and NBA playoffs. It's just a good time of the year.
And this time of the year should be good right now for us Knicks fans. But, hey, tonight was a tough night. Knicks lose to the Miami Heat, 127-120. Didn't go quite as well as the last time the Knicks were in Miami, that's for sure, Brett.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Knicks won the first two battles versus Miami. This year really would have been special if the Knicks somehow won 3 or 4 against Miami. I don't know if I would have believed that. Tough loss, let up, what do we let up, 127 points, coming off a game where we let up 140 points. I think that's what really stands out and really is probably the biggest talking point going into the stretch of the season. Let up a lot of points. Part of it is Miami shot the ball well. Tyler Hero had a bunch of nice shots, and part of it is the defense is slipping.
Yeah, and it could be that teams have finally figured out how to attack Tom Thibodeau's defense. That could be very likely because in the last 2 games, they've allowed 267 points combined, which is not good. Not good at all. And of course, listen, this is an instant reaction post game. There are 3 huge plays in my mind, maybe even more than that, where you could maybe make the argument that the refs had a bad call. And obviously, you could look to the Brunson block, which I think was a charge personally. And then, I mean, you look at what Josh Hart tweeted recently. I forgot exactly what he said in response to the video that Knicks Muse put out about Jimmy Butler dragging his pivot foot, I think twice in one play, and the Knicks getting called for a foul. And, of course, the Kyle Lowry 6-second violation, which wasn't called. Those were 3 big plays in the final 5-6 minutes, even shorter amount of time than that. And the Knicks, listen, I don't want that to become the talking point behind tonight's loss, Brett. The talking point needs to be the Knicks lost this game because they could not defend the 3. They could not defend the 3. 57% shooting from deep from Miami tonight. And as you mentioned, Tyler Hero went absolutely insane in that fourth quarter. Some of the shots that he was hitting, I mean, even all game. This is a game in which the Knicks lost where there can't be any blaming of the officiating. And it's easy to point out when the refs are not good. Just look at what happened in the Mavs-Warriors game tonight, which that's going to be the talk of the town. There are some occasions when a team is going to formally petition a basketball game. That's not what we saw tonight. The Knicks were outplayed.
Yeah. By the way, I hope that petition works because these things never work. They always throw them out the next day because what do? You don't bring these players back. They already fly away. But anyway, yeah, I'm not a big ref blamer. There were some shitty calls tonight. The Jimmy Butler, once I watched the replay, I didn't really realize it live, but once I watched the replay. But like you said, it's 3-point shooting. So Miami shot 57% from 3 tonight from field goal. Minnesota shot 7% from field goal last game. It's a combination of teams are figuring out how to attack us. Specifically, teams are going after Jalen Brunson. I think his defense has slipped. It was never great.
It was never good.
It was never great, but I think it slipped a bit. I don't know what it is. The last couple of weeks, he still takes charges, which are big, but teams are attacking him. He's a small defender. He's not super quick. It's tough to say exactly what's going on with the defense. I'd like to talk about some good things if we can. RJ Barrett had a really nice game. You have the stats up
26, 6 and 5, 8 for 13 from field goal. And he shot 3 for 6, 50% from 3 for RJ Barrett, the guy who cannot shoot threes. You're right. There are some positives to look at. This is definitely one of them.
I've been tough on RJ all season. I'll give him his flowers. He was good. He was attacking, but he made some passes early in the game that he doesn't usually make. I've been saying all season long, he's been forcing things. He decides what he's doing before he gets to the hoop. He wasn't doing that. He kicked some balls to the corner to Obi, hit 1-3, missed 1-3. And that got him into his offense. And he played good. He was probably the best player on the team tonight.
I mean, obviously you could talk about Grimes, who 22 points, 6 for 10 from 3. I think having him with his lightning quick release opens up so much on the offensive end for the Knicks, because when you have that guy to kick out shots to, I mean, listen, if you're driving in, if you're RJ Barrett, if you're Jalen Brunson, if you're Julius Randle, and the defense converges on you, it's a very easy option to look for Quentin Grimes in the corner, on the wing, at the top of the key. It's easy. And we've been seeing more and more of that. Obviously, he's going to have his down games, but if the two guys who've been the most inconsistent in this lineup, I mean, besides Mitch has been consistent, but the two guys who actually score out of the 4 guys who score in the starting rotation had a good game. You can look at that in the future as being, hey, if this happens again and Brunson and Randall have at least a semi-good game, then the Knicks won't lose many games. But of course, you could look at the other end and be like, well, the defense sucked. And tonight, that was the case of that.
Yeah, but just back to the Grimes thing quick. He had a shitty game versus Minnesota. He was left out in the fourth quarter. He took one shot the whole game. He hit it when he took one shot, and he was left out. He wasn't in the rhythm. It's going to be this kind of thing because we have these 4 guys for 2 spots between Grimes, Quickly, RJ, and Hart. And it's just great to see that he didn't have a great game. He came back shooting. He was hitting threes. He was playing defense. And it's good to see. Now, is this going to be an issue with these 4 guys in the playoffs? And I've sort of touched on this with RJ Barrett because, Quickly was hot as can be with that Celtics game and a couple of games around there. He's cooled off. He did not have a good game tonight. He did not shoot well, and he was kind of the odd man out late in the game. He went with Barrett. He went with Barrett and Grimes mostly, and a little bit of Hart. So
Hart played 30. He's guaranteed. He's arguably the most consistent player on this team right now, besides Mitch. But Mitch doesn't play as much as maybe we'd expect Mitch to play because Hartenstein has kind of emerged as a solid backup. We've talked about him a bunch. In one of our first episodes, we talked about how Hartenstein was a great value pickup. He was having a great start to his season. Then he dipped off in performance. Now all of a sudden, everyone's singing his praises. He's very deserving of his minutes. But Mitch needs to be in those late game scenarios because a few of those balls that came back off the rim should have been rebounds from Isaiah Hartenstein and would have been rebounds had Mitch been in the game. But that's another story for another day. It's not what we can hang our heads on right now. It's the fact that this Knicks team needs to figure out how to play defense. And what's so funny? What are you laughing at?
Did you not just hear the noises coming out of my computer?
I have no idea what's happening right now. What's going on?
Okay. We're all good.
What?
No, because I had the ESPN box score, and you know how they play those ads, auto play those ads sometimes, and it just popped up.
Don't get me started with that. The amount of times that I've just been scrolling through my phone and then open ESPN and all of a sudden a video starts playing, like, come on.
I don't know why they have to have that.
It's BS. It's bullshit.
Yeah. So crappy loss, still up 3, or we have 2.5 games on the Heat. This would have clinched the series tiebreaker, which would have been nice to definitely stay out of that playing game. Up 2 games on the Heat. Am I looking? Up 2 games on the Heat. Up 2 games on the Nets. 8 games to go. Not that tough of a schedule because they went through it. They had the Boston games, they had the Brooklyn games, Miami. They have games they can win. Overall, playing good ball. Minnesota hit a lot of shots. Miami hit a lot of shots. The offense has been really good. And
Brett, but these are a lot of open shots. And against Cleveland in a 7-game series, the amount of open looks the Knicks have given up in the last 2 games is simply not going to cut it. And you know that that's the truth. Do you see that move that Donovan Mitchell had the other night?
Yeah, he's ridiculous. I mean,
you can't be giving these guys open shots. They have like 2 offensive superstars, and Mobley is a beast as well. Like, that's not a team that you want to face not playing on your A game on defense. Like, that's the Knicks. Listen, they have 8 more games to figure this out, right? 8 more games. They have to win 8 in a row for them to finish with 50 wins for the first time since 12-13. Not going to happen. But in the next 8 games, the Knicks have a chance to first experiment and play good defense against some bad teams, and to make sure that they're not in the 7th seed or the 8th seed, and hopefully in the 5 seed.
That's the big thing. That's no foregone conclusion yet. That could be heartbreak for Knicks fans.
Yeah, you do. Even listen, even if you're 6, you don't want to be facing one of those top 3 teams. You don't. You don't want to be facing. You don't want to be. You definitely don't want to be facing the Bucks. You don't want to be facing the Sixers. And then you don't want to be playing Boston. Even with some really good games played against Boston this year from the Knicks, just don't want to face that team.
Yeah, I mean, Joel Embiid is probably going to edge out Jokic for MVP at this point. He's 30-plus points every single night. He's on a mission.
Incredible.
The Knicks have fought hard enough, have played good enough that they deserve to be in a winnable series versus the Cavs. Not an easy series, but a winnable series versus the Cavs. And if they choke this down the stretch to play Philly or possibly a playing game, it would be catastrophic. It would be awful.
Absolutely.
I don't think it can happen.
I listen. Nothing is out of the realm of possibility with the New York Knicks. We know that. I mean, you should know that better than me, being 7 years older than me. But that's just like anything could happen with this franchise, and anything will happen.
So the next 2 games, Orlando and Houston, 2 shitty teams. Now Orlando's beating
2
us.
Must-win games. That's not saying a lot. 2 must-win games.
Yeah. I mean, tomorrow's back-to-back, but you got to win tough games. Then we have the Heat again and the Cavs, so those are tough. Then it's Wizards, Pacers, Pelicans, Pacers. 6 of these 8 games are definitely winnable. It's right in front of them. They put in the work all season. They've had great stretches. They've had awesome momentum. The Josh Hart move was great. They put themselves between Tibbs and the front office and the players. They've put themselves in position to finish out the season, get the 5 seed, and have a winnable series.
Exactly. There's nothing else we can talk about here. We agreed that we keep this relatively short. We've had some long podcast. I mean, not long. I feel like 20, 30 minutes is not too long, but we decided to keep it short for you guys tonight. Listen, there just was not much. Not that there's not much to talk about. We could talk about the Knicks all night long, but after a game like this, how much really is there to analyze in a game in which now 2 games in a row you're allowing more than 120 points? It's not ideal. If it continues on a trend, trust us, you will see Brett and I on a podcast very soon. Maybe, hey, Brett, I know we both got busy schedules. I do 2 a week if that would happen. If the Knicks were to completely blow this, trust me, you'll get multiple podcasts a week from me.
I kind of miss pissy Bryce. I kind of miss down in the dumps pessimistic Bryce. So
it's always there. It's always there. It's
always lurking. I hope we don't see it, but it can be entertaining.
It's always bubbling under the surface, and trust me, it will come out if the Knicks somehow decide a way to F this season up. I don't even want to think about it. You could see me just losing it already. We're not doing that tonight, though. All right, Brett, it was great seeing you. I had my spring break this past week. I know you were down in Florida, so glad we're both home, healthy, and safe. So for Brett, I'm Bryce saying goodnight. We will see you all next week here on Fireside Knicks. Good night. Or good morning, whenever you're watching it.
Or good night.